Hello, my name is Kathleen Podrosky. I'm with VTA's Community Outreach and Public Engagement team. When we held our public meeting on January 9th, we overlooked turning on the recording feature. This means the meeting was not recorded. This recorded webinar provides viewers the same presentation that attendees received at the live meeting. And you have the same opportunity to hear from the artist selected for the Eastridge to BART Regional Connector Project. The live meeting was interactive, and the recording provides a summary of the activity that took place. The meeting was repeated on January 11th, and that was facilitated in Spanish. That one was recorded live and is posted on the project webpage. The webpage and other contact information will be provided at the end of this recording. Since this is a recorded webinar, we will skip the attendee polling, housekeeping, and technical navigation and get right to the presentation and art discussion. Next. Next. Thank you. Okay. At the meeting on January 9th, we were joined by residents, businesses, owners, managers, employees and employers, transit riders, community leaders, artists, VTA, City of San Jose, and Santa Clara County staff. We are repeating the agenda and sharing a summary of the activity. In a moment, I will share a short project overview. After that, I will hand the microphone over to Mary Rubin with the City of San Jose Public Art Program. Mary will present the Station Art Program. She will introduce the artist, who will each share their presentation, and you will know who they are and see examples of public art they have completed for other projects. We will share results from the live activity the attendees participated in, which was designed in a way that the artist can get to know you, the community. Next. This project extends light rail from the existing Alum Rocks light rail station to the Eastridge Transit Center with an elevated guideway, primarily in the center of Capitol Expressway. It is about 2.4 miles long. It is also called the Orange Line. It includes a station at Story Road. The station is elevated and accessed by a pedestrian bridge. Another station will be built at street level at the Eastridge Transit Center. When this project is complete, VTA riders can board light rail at Eastridge and then connect directly with BART at the Milpitas station, which opened in 2020. The ride will take about 19 minutes. Next. This project has been divided into phases, or divided and delivered into phases. The first phase, VTA addressed pedestrian access and improved safety along the expressway between Quimby Road and Capitol Avenue. This was completed in 2012. It included new sidewalks, street and pedestrian lighting, and landscaping. Next was the reconstruction of the Eastridge Transit Center. This transit center is one of VTA's busiest transit centers. The improvements included new shelters and amenities and supports bus rapid transit. This was completed in 2015. Next. This map shows you the light rail system map. Again, we are extending the Orange Line. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Mary Rubin, City of San Jose Art Program. Thank you. Next.
Yeah, thanks, Kathleen. Yes, I'm Mary Rubin, Senior Project Manager for the City of San Jose, working as a contractor to VTA to oversee the public art process for these two new stations. As Kathleen mentioned, this meeting is essentially the kickoff meeting for the artist design process in advance of them doing any design work. The purpose of this meeting is for you to become acquainted with the artist, get a sense of their visual vocabulary and their approach to public art. It's also meant to be a foundational inspiration for the artist's work here in San Jose. It's an opportunity for the artist to learn about you, who you are, and what you value. Before the meeting, I want to kind of zoom out and provide a little context for how the artists were selected. Next. Obviously, Story and Eastridge stations are important projects. And based on our public art experience, we know that the most important step in a successful public art project is selecting the right artist for the project. Next. So here the selection process started with a request for qualifications released in April 2021. Because these are very large and complicated projects, the request for qualifications required experience with permanent outdoor projects with similar budgets. We conducted a very extensive outreach to local and national artists Ultimately, 193 artists submitted qualifications for the project, including 79 California artists and 45 area artists. Next. An artist selection panel was invited, which included professional artists, the project architect, community representatives from D8, more specifically artist Rachel Liu, and in D5, Edgar Ocha, who is the Director of Community Engagement at the Mexican Heritage Plaza. There were also 2 prominent professional artists from the Bay Area and the arts manager at LA Metro, who's worked on many, many similar projects in Los Angeles. On August 11th, 5 artists were interviewed. And based on past work and interviews, the artists panel selected Amir Fala and the team of Laura Haddad and Todd Drugan for these commissions. These artists are experienced public artists. Their work extends beyond their studio and responds to site and community. They also have a track record for sizable, successfully maintainable public artworks. Next. Community engagement is foundational to public art. The first phase of the artist's contract, in fact, focuses on meeting with the community. And again, this is before pen is ever put to paper. We organize these meetings for you to meet the artists and for them to get to know more about you. And after the meeting, it's only after this that the artists begin developing their concepts. Before their design concept is approved, we'll circle back with you for input before we go to the Public Art Committee for approvals. Okay, with that as an explanation, I'm going to turn the proverbial mic over to Los Angeles-based artist Amir Fala, who you will see from his work. He works in a range of media scales, both in the studio and in the public realm. Amir.
Hi, thank you so much. Excuse me. Hi, everyone. My name is Amir H. Fala. I am an Iranian-American artist, and I've lived in Los Angeles for over 20 years. Next slide. My work deals with themes of identity, immigration, displacement, and cultural hybridity. This is all based on my own experience growing up between cultures. I express this sense of connection through these intertwined symbols throughout my work. I'll go a little further into this with some more examples. I'll begin by going through my studio practice and move into examples of my large scale and public artwork, showing you the full range of my approach and process. Next slide. I enjoy creating work that draws the viewer in through scale, complexity, and color. Public art is great for doing this as well. Growing up in Washington, D.C. area, public art was my first connection. It was my first exposure to art. From then on, I have seen it as a powerful force of connection and change, an essential way of providing more democratic and universal access to art, bringing unique beauty to a place and connecting the community members to the space and to each other. Next slide, please. I often use botanical imagery as a metaphor for blurring of borders and connections across cultures. These works speak to a global movement of plant life due to human agriculture and natural migration of plants across the earth, reflecting an increasingly porous world. This is Invisible Boundary, a painting from 2017 that includes plants from all over the world entangled with each other. Next slide, please. A lot of my work involves creating compositions based on imagery from across pop culture, the internet, digital museum archives, and more. This approach to collecting and connecting imageries is at the heart of my practice. I believe in making relationships where they might not otherwise be obvious, and this informs my approach to public art as well. I always like to explore the many different symbols that make up the identity of a place. Next slide, please. With my background showing work in galleries and museums worldwide, and having made large-scale public artworks for more than 20 years, I hope to bring all of my experience to this project. Next slide. I often make paintings on a very large scale, allowing for even more complex composition. This blends into my approach to public art as well, as I'm able to expand on visual concepts. I'm interested in the impact of the work at this scale. It's exciting to create something that pulls the viewer in and opens up a lot of possibilities on a visual and conceptual level. Next slide, please. With my public artworks, I'm interested in digging deeper into what is important to the community and other meaningful approaches to the idea of connectivity. I have tackled ambitious projects that have taken on many different sizes of media. These include large murals, stained glass, and multimedia projects. The split screen on the left is a permanent mural painted on the facade of the Museum of Contemporary Art in Tucson, Arizona. Songs for My Father, Bouquets for My Mother on the right is a site-specific mural commissioned by the 18th Street Art Center as part of the Public Art Initiative, painted on the facade of Bake Art Gallery in Culver City, California. Next slide, please. The facade project in San Jose was a one-year site-specific installation created for the exterior of the Institute of Contemporary Art in San Jose. This installation was conceived and installed during the COVID-19 shutdown as a way to bring art out into the public sphere while the gallery was closed. Imagery from the installation was used for a citywide Get Out the Vote campaign, and the site was an official polling center for the 2020 presidential elections. The community outreach aspect involved having conversations with members, as well as a series of artist talks and book readings with the San Jose Public Library. We also created posters of the piece, and all of this allowed the installation to have a life beyond just the institution, for it to really become embedded in the community. Given the state of the pandemic at the time, providing this access to art was also bringing people together and had a real positive impact. Next slide, please. Universe is a series of 3 15 by 15 foot murals painted on the campus of Cerritos College in Norwalk, California. The works are part of the college's permanent art collection. Next slide. Here's a closer image of the 3 murals for Cerritos College. In developing these works, I want to address and honor the diverse student population. Due to COVID-19, I conducted a virtual workshop with students over Zoom. Many of the students at Cerritos are immigrants like myself, so we discussed their families' immigration experiences and origin stories in the workshop. I asked them to share images of plants from their homeland and integrated those plants into the mural. Next slide, please. Portals is a 3-part sculpture commissioned by the LA Arts Commission for the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health Services headquarters. In this work, I responded to some insights from the clients who were interested in creating a contemplative garden. This brought me to the idea of creating these portals, which interact with the environment and create a space for reflection. I work with the landscapers to include plant imagery from the site's landscaping, fully embedding the works with their surroundings. Next slide, please. Portals is a great example of the possibilities of public art, the many shapes these projects take, and the extent to which we can be inventive and ambitious. However different they may be, in all of those projects, I embrace their connection to community and the surrounding environment, all conceived with the public at the top of mind. Next slide. Overall, I truly believe in the power of public art. I hope to bring this past experience and to create more opportunities to inspire dialogue and connection in the public sphere. I don't know exactly what I'll create yet, but I'm very excited to make an artwork that honors San Jose and is a great contribution to the community. Thanks.
Thank you, Amir. Mary, you are on mute.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Amir. Now it's time to introduce Laura Haddad and Tom Drugan, who are also experienced public artists who are working with history of site, community, environment, and light to create significant public art projects that contribute to a sense of place. Laura and Tom, I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
David, could you go to the next slide, please? Hello, everyone. We are Laura Haddad and Tom Drugan. We're Seattle-based public artists. We've been collaborating for over 20 years, and we're site-specific artists, meaning our artwork changes in appearance from place to place. We're inspired by the place, context, and community where the artworks are built. We use a variety of materials that capture the effects of sun, wind, and rain, and often incorporate LED lighting to expand the meaning of the art from day into night. So today we're going to show you some examples of our past work for the Eastridge station. We will design something completely unique, inspired by our research and your input. Next, please.
So first up is Sunspot. This is a sculpture at the Denver Animal Shelter, and it's a 20-foot high dog sculpture covered in over 90,000 pet tags. This is a playful and iconic artwork that greets people who are arriving at the shelter. It's also visible from Interstate 5, which passes in front of the dog. Next. The pet tags symbolize adoption and animal stewardship. They're also inspired by the sparkling sunlight on the Platte River, which also runs along the front of Sunspot. The tags glisten in the sun and gently move in the wind. At night, color-changing LED lighting on the sculpture moves through a spectrum of sunset colors. Next. Second part of the artwork is suspended from the ceiling inside the animal shelter lobby. It's a large collar sized to fit the exterior dog sculpture. The public is invited to customize engraved pet tags to commemorate both old and newly adopted pets. They're attached to chains hanging down from the collar, which slowly are accumulating with pet tags over time, becoming a communal gesture of animal stewardship. Next.
So the next couple projects are community gathering spaces. Fremont Peak Park, shown here, is a neighborhood park in Seattle. Integrated art creates a linked series of experiences that weave through the park and lead to a view terrace. The overall art concept here references the myth of the Minotaur and cosmological and astrological events that tie into that myth. Here we use concrete walls to create a kind of conceptual labyrinth that creates a framework for the design. A spool of silver thread greets people at the entry and then unwinds and dives into the ground and leads people through the park to the entrance or to the view terrace. Next slide, please. So here are a few details of the integrated art. The first garden room is a Phases of the Moon terrace that is made from glass and stone aggregates. The silver thread that begins as the spool terminates at a view terrace as a Y with legs that point to the sunsets at the winter and summer solstice. People gather here during these events and the park becomes a very special place. And then throughout the park, there are constellations depicted in pipes and seating boulders to bring some relevance of the astrology and the myth, combining them. Next slide, please. Access Lounge is another gathering place. This is a recent art installation at a newly renovated landmark arena in Seattle Center. The artwork acts as a microcosm of the arena environment with interactive seating and a small stage. The individual parts of the artwork express the colors and emotions described in Seattle-born musician Jimi Hendrix's song Bold as Love. The piece is a collage of vibrant colors, forms, and textures, and also overlays images of sports and music. There is a concrete bench that is shaped like a hockey stick and a wood bench shaped like the edge of a Stratocaster guitar. Next. At night, Access Lounge comes alive with the addition of dynamic internal LED lighting, which varies in color depending on the type of event happening inside the arena. This image is shown during an NHL game and the light colors are in Kraken colors. Next, please.
The next few sculptures show how we incorporate environmental phenomena into our artwork. So first up here is Watermark. So this is an artwork that embraces the function of a flood control structure down in Scottsdale, Arizona. The concrete structure is punctuated with 5 14-foot-high aluminum horse gargoyles that recall the site's historic McCormick Arabian horse ranch. The 5 horses with their legs posed in different positions create a cinematographic effect of horses galloping as you drive by. During flood events, the horses' mouths spout stormwater. This often surprises and delights people driving past because they have no idea that the horses function in this way in the normal dry times. Next. Flock is a sculpture near a wetland at a recreation center in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. 2 rows of 20-foot-high vertical posts hold over 100 bird-like wind vanes. Each is painted on one side and has a mirror finish on the opposite side. The V formed by the posts and wind vanes point south and frame the position of the sun in the sky at noon on the winter solstice. Changes in the sun and wind cause this artwork to vary in appearance with different changing weather conditions. Next. Iridescent Cloud is a suspended sculpture at Denver's Museum of Nature and Science. This piece is inspired by the museum's displays about light, optics, and minerals, and is composed of hundreds of prisms that cast spectrums of colors. Next. The prisms are woven into a web of mirrored stainless steel rods inspired by the molecular structure of hexagonal quartz crystals. Step terraces underneath the artwork create a nice gathering place. And then as sunlight shines on the prisms, they sparkle with iridescent colors that move across the sculpture as a person walks around it and under it, and creating a very kind of embodied art experience. Next. Cloud is a suspended sculpture at an elevated light rail station. This creates a landmark for a place that didn't have a strong identity before the station was there. The sculpture is composed of acrylic discs that glow in the sunlight and flutter in the wind. From a distance, the discs visually coalesce into the shape of a cloud. The appearance of the sculpture changes dramatically throughout the day, depending on the wind speed and direction of the sun. Up close, for people getting on and off or waiting to board a train, the fluttering discs create a spectacular environment of light and motion. Next. Luminous Wind is a sculpture also at a transit station, but this one's in Denver, and it creates a beacon for a new sustainable community that's growing up around the piece. Almost 1,000 prismatic acrylic rods inspired by the grasses of the prairie land site around the plaza radiate out from a center stainless steel structure that sits upon a sculptural tripod. Each of the rods is illuminated by an individual color-changing LED. And every night of the week is a different kind of dynamic light show, and also many holidays and other events are commemorated through the light artwork. Next. During the day, the sunlight makes the rods glow, creating kind of a beautiful halo effect when the sphere is backlit. Next.
So our final project to share with you is Bayview Rise. This was a temporary installation on an abandoned grain terminal at San Francisco's Pier 92. The mural has become a gateway that marks entry into the Bayview district. Its geometric pattern weaves together symbols of the neighborhood's evolving community, ecology, and economy. Next. At night, changing LED colors cause parts of the mural to be highlighted while others recede. This results in a very magical, dynamic effect. As the light colors shift, images appear to float in and out of the scene, expressing symbols of the Bayview district and transition. We did quite a bit of research for this project and met with neighborhood representatives to review the mural imagery with the community and select images that best resonate with the people in place. So we really look forward to hearing your input for the Eastridge station and creating a beautiful artwork there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Laura and Tom. So now it's time to shift attention to helping the artists learn more about the community. In pre-pandemic times, when we did these meetings in person, we would write the artist questions out on big Post-its and post them around the room give community members pens and ask community members to write their responses on the Post-its, then go back and have a discussion. The other night when we did this meeting in real time, we basically did the same thing via an online platform, which Kathleen is going to explain. Next.
Thank you, Mary. This slide shows you a snapshot of the activity that took place. We shared an application with attendees that allowed everyone to respond to the 4 questions that were just shown on the last slide. They placed their virtual Post-its with their responses into the columns that corresponded with the question. The first question, which neighborhood are you connected to and what is important for us to know about it, is in the first column on the left, and people shared what neighborhoods they were connected to and information that they felt we should know. It was no surprise that our attendees represented a wide variety of East San Jose neighborhoods. In the second question, think about a place that is special to you in San Jose and describe a spot and why it's important to you. That's the responses in the second column. And attendees shared locations in San Jose that are special. Some talked about the foothills, the greenery, the views. Other places included the Mexican Heritage Plaza, Alum Rock Park, Eastridge Mall, Mark's Hot Dogs, and Emma Prush Farm. That's just to name a few of the variety. On the third question, we asked people to provide 3 words that describe what is important to them personally or what symbolize your community. And again, a variety of responses that articulate the richness and the diversity we have in East San Jose. And then the final question, what is one of your favorite public artworks in San Jose or anywhere? Attendees continue to share information about murals, public art at the libraries, at the San Jose airport, on top of buildings located downtown. Some shared examples of public art maybe that they did not care for and what their perceptions were. Other people mentioned murals and other works outside of San Jose as well. We really appreciate everyone's participation, and the responses we gathered at the meeting on the 9th and again at the 11th all provide insight to the community, which takes us to the next step, inspiring design concepts for the new stations. Next slide, please. Back to Mary.
So that's exactly where we are in terms of next steps. So with kind of the foundation of these meetings, the artists are going to begin their design process. After the design process and after the concepts are created, we'll circle back with you for your input, and then ultimately go to the Public Art Committee for approvals. So we anticipate all of this happening in the next number of months, but basically first half of 2023. Yeah, that's where we are.
Here's where we are. Thank you, Mary. This is the end, and we just want to give you our contact information. If you have any questions or comments and want to learn more about this project, you can subscribe to project updates from our website at vta.org/eastridge-dbart. And please sign up for email updates, not just for the art, but for construction and all other project updates. And once you subscribe, you will have emails sent directly to your inbox. You can also call us or email. With that, I thank everyone for your time. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.